Welcome to the TikTok Boom podcast. My name is Natalie Potts and I'm invested in helping people love what they do in life and business to achieve greatness. Each week, I'll bring you an inspiring personal message to help you in taking action. Thank you for spending time with me today. Now let's go. I'm welcoming you back for a second time, which is amazing. It doesn't usually happen.
Thank you so much for having me. I think this is great to speak with you again and have the opportunity to talk to your listeners. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. I remember the last conversation I was looking earlier. It was back in June 2021. And we spoke around that idea of obviously coaching, but also that there's something more for you in life. So yeah, really interesting. So it's great to see how powerful it can be to keeping connections with people and see their journey over time, you see. So share with me a little bit around kind of, you know, what you've been doing the last year and who you are, and let's just go from there.
Sure. So my name is Chrissy. I'm a coach. I'm a mindset coach, but also a book coach. So what you can understand about that is basically I help writers to overcome procrastination or self-doubt in order to either keep on writing or finish their writing. There's a lot of writers out there that find it very difficult to keep on writing. You know, they've written for a while, but they find it really hard to keep the momentum. And I'm basically helping them to overcome those fears. But we also start with the foundations of, you know, how do you start writing a book, what's really important in the beginning, your mindset, your daily structure. There's quite a few things that I think a lot of people don't realize that you need to have in the beginning. I always compare it to a house. You know, if a house hasn't got the foundations, the right foundations, then you can't really have a good house, basically. And the same with your writing as well. If you haven't got the right foundations, then you will struggle later on in order to finish your book. What I also find quite interesting is a lot of people they don't know their why. So I always ask them, why are you writing? You know, why is this important to you? What will happen if you don't write it? And all those questions that we use in coaching are quite helpful for people to actually realize, wow, you know, I didn't even think about that. So for me, it's just always nice to see those aha moments from my writers and see what they can achieve in a very short amount of time. So yeah, that's what I've been doing the last 6 months. Before that, I finished my coaching diploma, so I've worked with lots of different people, and I really enjoyed working with different niches as well. But what made me decide on the niche was basically I was working with 3 authors, and I just really enjoyed it. I love reading, and I enjoyed working with creative minds and also seeing the end result, you know, once they published their book, to see that and how happy they were. That really, I really enjoyed that.
I think you're spot on there where you talk around the aha moment and the creative side. And I think that stems from what we do as a practice, which is coach. And not a lot of people actually know what true coaching is. And they think it's actually mentoring, training, facilitating, you know, teaching is telling people what to do. And that is a very different experience to take people on. And that's really evolved for me the last year, I think, you know, scaling and looking at my business very differently. And it's really interesting how you touch on structure there. And, you know, I guess the wealth of what you can bring to some writers is, like you say, that part of the mindset, however, the business side too. They're very, you know, you cannot, I've got this great, you know, vision of building a business that looks at, you know, life, relationships and business, you know, and well-being. It's not just one area, because they all have a domino effect on one another. And if I call it like, it's under the surface level stuff that if you don't unpack and explore that always alongside running,
that's right,
life always. It's not just overnight gonna, oh, I'm there, I've done it, I've achieved it, boom. And then it's going to hold you back. And that structure part there is absolutely critical to address. And there's a few things there for me. That one, you're absolutely spot on, people don't know their why. And it's actually, sometimes I find it can be, you've got to have empathy, humility and compassion when you ask great questions to people, and do it in the right way, because I find that sometimes that could be, if I don't do it in the right way, quite a confrontational question. And we know why is anyway, not a lot of people. I love it, I do use it, but I'll use it and I might position it like that. I'm going to ask you why, because I really want someone to explore it. And I think that why, and you know, going back to the basics of what do you want, these sound really basic questions, but people really unpack them and explore them, and like you said, they don't have the answer to them.
No, that's right. That's right. I also came across a really good way of going really much deeper into the why as well. I'm not quite sure if you're familiar with it, but it's called the 7 levels deep.
Okay.
And I find it really helpful, because you're starting at like, okay, so tell me why you're writing a book, for example, and then they tell you the answer, and then you're asking again, so why, you know, are you doing this? And then you go, why again, until you get to really the core why, because then you find out, okay, so that's the real why. Not, you know, you want to write a book because, you know, you want to be successful. Actually, the main reason for some people is they want to be proud, or they want to make their children proud. There's a lot of, you know, little whys, but if we don't discover them, then they don't really know why they're writing. So I think it's really quite helpful to have those kind of little exercises as well, in order to find out what the why is.
Yeah, it's the idea of the goal behind the goal. And I remember working back in 2018, I was on a mastermind helping people with their mindset at the time. But it was my coach's business, and he had about 40 fitness coaches where they were transitioning from the gym into running their business online. And again, you can imagine thriving communities to suddenly working solo, and people don't know what to do. And often in that, we used to talk about a lot around, obviously the niche was often similar for most of them, but we'd, you know, really transparent and relatable one for people was, you know, I want to get fit to look good for a photo shoot, or to look, you know, to good on the beach in a bikini. And it was like, okay, well, what's under that? Like, what really is it? And it would be something like, you know, as we get transparent and really down to the root of, because I want to feel sexually attractive, and I want to have a great sex life with my partner, and getting to the root was hard with some people on that. But once you really that pain point, it allowed you to open up that relationship and really explore and look at the not as such, we wouldn't heal because it's not counseling and but understand, well, if we don't go to the root, we can't actually change that. We can do, again, the surface stuff. So it was always, it's always a nice one to draw upon, because it's quite relatable for people. And it's a feeling, it's a motive. And that's important too. And I think that you're right. It's that blend of having to take the part where a creative mind is sometimes, like I can be, and maybe this will resonate with you, but you kind of like, loads of great ideas, but you're kind of jumping everywhere and not actually just getting that, actually, this is where I'm at. I'm not there, I'm here, and let's slow down the process, and let's be more strategic in what to be forward at the right time. And I think we live in a world where we're demanded to be constantly on the go.
Yes.
That creative mind needs support. And
that's right.
It's interesting because I've heard of a couple of book coaches, but I think it's an absolutely, I think it's a great niche. I think it's spot on with helping people. And I think it's exciting because, like you said, you know, you're going to come away feeling empowered and energized. And that creative will come through. It's like that child, isn't it, that runs around saying, why? The kids are creative.
Yes, I worked with a lady, which completely inspiring. She it's a bit of a very sensitive topic. She wrote a book about date rape. So she published her diary about her experience, and basically she was constantly going over and over, you know, like why she can't publish it, or why she's not good enough, or why won't someone read it. But through the coaching, she really got the confidence back, and she had her why she wanted to do it. She wanted to publish the book in order to help more people. And once she had finished that book, you should have seen her, like she was a different person. She was so happy that she's done it, she achieved it. But also now, after publishing the book, she's now helping lots of people with this topic, and other people that have suffered from date rape as well. So I think that is, for me, an amazing achievement for someone to overcome something really difficult, write a book about it, and then help others with it. That is just amazing.
Yeah, it's finding their voice.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's right, isn't it, within that? And like you say, that I guess in some ways it's like hiding behind something a little bit, isn't it? Maybe I've had ideas of books and things, or I don't know if hiding's always right to say, but until maybe you would, I think that's where you can see the benefit that coaching would have, because actually you could still write a book. How you then promote it and what you'd want to do with get it into the world, which is what you want to do, that's going to be part of probably the purpose of people. That takes a whole different skill and mindset, doesn't it? The next stage.
For sure.
I think that if you don't, that's what comes in with, it's why people have publishers and everything like that, and they'll timeline it and everything. You've got to think about it, like we said, that strategic way, haven't you?
Yes, for sure. Yeah, I think there's everyone has different reasons why they want to write a book, but I think everyone has kind of the idea, I could write a book. So, and some people they really make this work, and they really work on their self-esteem, and they work on their writing skills, and they read a lot, and they really want to publish the book. Other people, they just see it more as a hobby, and they write for years and years, and edit and edit again. So it's just, everyone is different in that way as well. So you wouldn't never have a coaching plan really, where you say like, well, you're going to be finished with your book in 3 months. You can't, because everyone is different, but you can support them on the way. That's definitely possible.
I'd like to just touch on a bit of you around the idea of the niche, because it's always an interesting one. I always get asked. It's like it's the hot topic as such. It used to be when I was doing my qualifications, and then suddenly it's like everybody asks, "What's my niche? Where do I find my niche? Who's my ideal client? Where are they?" And it's I often say, just have a bit of fun and date your niche, and you're not gonna, it's not set in stone, it can change. I think nearly 4 times in 1 year my coach went nuts, and he said, this is the last time you're going to pivot. And I was like, okay, but it just didn't feel right. I guess where we were, like we shared last year then, and your journey, and I hope you don't mind if I'm going to ask around how you came about finding your niche of book, because I guess at the time it was more centered around mindset and everything. What was your true reasoning for, and your why around books and becoming a book coach?
Different reasons, really. So first of all, during my training, I did help those two writers to continue writing their book, and just seeing how much confidence they managed to have along the journey. That already made me really question what my niche is, and if I would like to work with writers in the future, and just talking to them and asking them as well questions about writing, about books and all of that, just made me think like, I really enjoy talking to creative people in general, but it just made me think like, I can really help people to get their message out, especially the one that I just mentioned, B. Goldsmith. She really made me think like, okay, I would love to help more people to get their message out. So that was the first reason. And the second reason for me is when I was little, my parents, they didn't have enough money for books. So I didn't really have many books when I was little. And now I've got 2 children. Our house is stacked with books. Like we all read, like I read so much. My children, they read so much. We go to the library all the time. It's just like reading is such a big part of our lives. Like it's just, it's lovely to see that my children, they rather read a book than sitting in front of the TV, which not many children do these days, but it's just lovely to see that. And so we really enjoy reading, and for me it's just like, that's another reason why I love working with writers, because you've got a common thing. It's just I think those two things really made me decide on the niche much more. And the mindset is obviously very important as well, but you can coach mindset in lots of different niches, but I think with writing there's a lot of self-doubt. So I think that's why I thought, like, I think I would be really good at helping people with their mindset as well.
Well, let's change that. Is you will be. And
yes, that's right.
Amazing at doing that. And you are, because that story encapsulates people. We connect through our stories, and it's lovely to hear that. And like you shared there, a lot of our limiting beliefs, whether it's I do a lot around money mindset of people at the minute, and myself, I've had to work on phenomenally around that. And like we say, then the self-doubts we have, and the reasons what where we, again, looking at under surface stuff, where we procrastinate, where does that stem from? And a lot of it is obviously our upbringing, and that's not right or wrong. It's not to blame. It's to say, okay, well, now how do I own that, and how do I change that for the better, and use that struggle over time, and work on that and create new habits or new beliefs about myself. And I think that what it also shows with there is, and it's great if people are really struggling, I think, to unpack their niche and just, like we say, explore it, have some fun, date it, whatever terminology sits with you. That I wouldn't want to make the assumption, but that must, bearing in mind what you shared about your children, that hits a very strong value for you with reading at home.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's very, very much so. I started reading to them, when they were babies. So that was like always really important to me, that books will be part of our lives, and they won't have the same thing as me. Like, my parents couldn't buy any books, but whenever my children want to buy a book, I will buy them a book, because that's really important to me. They learn, they question, they just light up, if they read a story that they really like. And I think that will hopefully sow the seeds as well for them later on to be either a writer or an author. So for me that would be amazing.
Yeah, no, I see that. And that's where we say, like, that's where you get the energy, isn't it? It's like that, and it's lovely to be around. And I think it's important to also share that sometimes it doesn't have to be that that's your purpose either, that your passion or something you love. Like, I love reading too. So my goal, I read 52 books was my goal, and I did it. It was hard, I'm not gonna lie. Wow. They were pure reading. I did throw in the order. I think I did, because someone asked me how did I do it, and I said, well, I would read one book every other week. I would read 2 books and then 2 audibles. And the audibles might not be ones that I'd have to massively focus on as such.
Sure.
But they would be ones that would be more informative, I guess. And look, I'm not going to lie, they're all around kind of the personal development, self-development side of things, because that's what I absolutely love. Yeah. And I think, but what I noticed was, because the year before I didn't really read. And I noticed that, one, I love having books at home. I just love it. 2, I read now. I know I can't keep up with that. It was real effort, but I certainly read a lot more now. I'm certainly more creative, and it's helped me build relationships, because strangely, someone this morning, I'd shared I think I'm reading the is it The Go Giver? Bob Berg, I think, and it's kind of like a fable and story, and a guy pinged back to the post saying amazing book, and I was like, it is, isn't it? I was like, what are you reading in a minute? And it just gets you into a conversation, because it's that's relatable, you're connected, and I love that. And that's where people talk about, where's my client, where's this? It's like, just connect, just get out there and talk to people. Look at who, be interested, be curious, share, serve, and you completely open up a completely different relationship and experience again for somebody. And I think that's we have this saying in the mastermind I move, the more you connect, the more you collect. And so the more you do that with the right intention, I don't look at people and think that's a sale, you know, that's a person. I think, actually, how can I serve them? What do they need? What are they struggling with? And then half the time as well, they'll say things to me and I'm like, oh, you could help me. So you never know. And again,
right.
Even it's opening up your mind. Just because you might be doing, I guess, niching as such with people that are writers, where you do the mindset one, that gives you so much skills and knowledge and experience to be able to help people in that as well. And that becomes the part on that, you know, I say to people, like, people don't buy coaching, they buy the results, and they buy you, and they invest in you.
Yeah.
They see something. And I know that my energy is a big thing, is what people always share, and some people that connects, and so some people that will put them off, and that's absolutely fine. The same as some people, for me, I know there's a few coaches out there that are very, very direct, like very direct. And some of it I like, and I'll take elements, and some of it I'm like, way too far for me. But that's their thing. That's where you can find your uniqueness and what you stand for. Again, this is a question: what you stand for, who do you want to become? These questions aren't explored enough, and that must be a great question to ask someone like a book. You know, who do you want to become by going on this experience and this journey?
Yeah, for sure. And you know, some people they write because they want to make money with it. Other people want to make a difference. Other people just want to bring the best out of themselves, and in order to you know, share their story, they're going to make other people happy with their story. There's different reasons, but I think everyone needs to understand that you're also not the author you might be reading currently. So, you know, a lot of people, they think like, oh, I'm not as good as Dan Brown, for example, you know, or I'm not as good as, you know, all the really published authors, like the very famous ones. But don't compare yourself to them, because you know, if you're just starting out, you can't compare yourself to them. They've got years and years of experience, so you need to just keep on writing. You need to do it every day, one step at a time, and just keep writing. And that's what I always say, you know, like, just keep on writing and just try your best. You know, if you keep doing it every day, you will get better at it. And you need to ask for help as well. If you're stuck, ask for help, and that will keep you going as well, to finish it as well.
Yeah, you're spot on there. I always say there's a few things each year. I think last year my big focus was to slow down, to speed up, which I'm still massively working on. This year was definitely just around that idea of asking for help more. I remember, you know, going in, I did it in March, April, I did a few big changes in my business, and you know, people were like, what do you need? And I was like, I need this, this, and this. And like, what else? I was like, I don't know. I know I need this and you. So can you help me? They're like, yeah. So like, you just have to ask for help. And I said, like, they're like, well, what do you need? I was like, I don't know. That's the point. I don't know. And that's important, to have the confidence to say, I don't know everything. This, I don't know that, and I need some help on that, please.
Yeah.
You know, I think again that opens up because people want to help, right?
For sure. But it's also, you know, you don't need to reinvent the wheel, you know, like, you know, a lot of people have done it, and you just need to reach out to the right people to help you on the way, because you know, it's something that is not complicated. Once you've got, you know, your story in mind, what you want to write about, or you know your genre, then, you know, it's much easier, because then you can also find the help that you need on the way. Yeah.
I love both of those sayings, that reinvent the wheel and find yourself on the way. I've loved having you on and sharing that. And what I've loved most is actually seeing your journey. And like you said, that actually, and I know for yourself that, you know, you kindly shared before that it might have taken a bit longer to get through qualifications and things. And it does, like, stuff isn't overnight. And I think that sometimes it's great to have a vision and goals 100%, but sometimes don't get off track because things don't go the way you plan them. Keep going, believing in what you want to do.
For sure. I would say to everyone that's listening, you know, life can get sometimes really tough. I know it from my personal life as well. You know, I've gone through a lot the last 6 to 9 months, but it makes you stronger. You know what they always say, if it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. The thing is, once you're in the middle of it, it's really, really hard, and you just think like you can't do it anymore. But one step at a time, even if it's just like 10 minutes of something, it's better than nothing. So every day you need to keep on doing what you need to do, and you will get there. Don't focus on the big goal. Don't focus on, let's say, the book, or don't focus on, something massive. Focus on what you can do today. Like, ask yourself the question, what is the most important thing I can do in order to use my time wisely? One step at a time, and that will get you there. And find the support as well. That's really important. Have a close network, either family or friends that can support you. You're not alone, and you can do it. Everything that you want to do, you can do it. You need to put your mind to it that you can do it. I know it's hard, and I know it's easy to say once you got through it, but thinking back, all of my friends, that helped me through it, they were there for me, and that's what I needed. You need some support, someone that's there for you. And if you don't have that, then it's very, very hard. But you can do a lot of things that you don't think you can, but in the end you will feel amazing that you've done it.
Yeah, I agree. So something new I've started recently is when I've had guests on, I've asked them to ask a question for the next guest. So one, I've got a question for you, and I love it because it puts people on the spot a little bit, so it's always which isn't a bad thing for us, especially on a Friday morning. So I'm going to ask a question, and then I would love you to leave a question as well for the next guest. Would be amazing.
Yeah.
So the question before was, what is the greatest decision you've made at the drop of a hat?
The greatest decision is to leave the job that I absolutely hated.
Wow. Okay.
That was one, right decision to do, because you can't keep on doing a job that you hate every day, because it will just make you feel really miserable and not happy. You need to make sometimes a very uncomfortable decision, but it will just lead you to the next best thing. It's not that it's completely finished, but it will help you. It's a redirection. It's not the end, it's just a redirection.
I love that. You're absolutely, yeah, that resonates as well for me with what I've been through, so I get that. What would be a question for our next guest?
I would say, what would you tell your younger self? What would you do, or what would you not do again?
Okay. Interesting. I think sometimes it's just the part where it puts someone on the spot. I know that I'd be going, oh, wow. That's actually a little bit of how I did get into coaching as well, or something different. So I remember going to loads of courses at work, and that moment there, so we're going to go around a room, introduce yourself, say something that you do that's out there. And I was like, oh my goodness, all I do is work, and that's it. I don't really know what to say anymore. I hated that question. So I was like, I need to do something out of work. And then I kind of, that's when the coaching stuff started to come my way. So it's really interesting. Where can people find you?
They can find me on Facebook and on LinkedIn. So under Chrissy Humphrey, you will find me there. Amazing.
Thank you so much for your time. I really value it.
Thank you so much, Natalie, for your time, and good luck to everyone that's out there and listening. You are amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed today's episode and inspired you on your journey. Make sure to share this with a friend and subscribe to the podcast. I really love hearing feedback from you, so leave a review and let me know what part of this episode resonated with you the most. And now it is time to go take action, make a difference, and have a great day.